You ever hear something a million times and it loses all meaning? You just tune it out. In this video, we'll explore 10 things toxic parents often say to their children and the impact these words can have. These phrases, they stick with you. They burrow down deep and can shape how you see yourself in the world. We're gonna unpack all that and what it really means for you. Let's get real. How many of you have heard this one? You're too sensitive. It's like a punch to the gut, right? It's a way of shutting down your feelings, telling you they're not valid, that you're overreacting. But here's the thing, folks. Sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It means you feel things deeply. You experience the world with your whole heart. And when someone tells you you're too sensitive, what they're really saying is, I don't want to deal with your emotions. They're uncomfortable with your vulnerability, so they try to invalidate it. But here's the truth. Your feelings are real. They matter. And you deserve to have them acknowledged and validated. Don't let anyone, not even your parents, tell you otherwise. Think about it. When a child is told they're too sensitive, they start to internalize that message. They begin to believe that their feelings are wrong, that they need to suppress them to be accepted. This can lead to a whole host of problems down the road, from difficulty forming healthy relationships to struggling with anxiety and depression. And let's be clear, folks, this isn't about letting kids run wild with their emotions. It's about creating a safe space for them to express their feelings without fear of judgment or criticism. Oh, the comparison game. It's a classic, isn't it? Parents look at their children and instead of celebrating their unique qualities, they start playing the, "Why can't you be more like" game. Why can't you be more like your brother? He always gets good grades. Why can't you be more like your sister? She's so talented. But here's the thing, folks. Every child is different. They have their own strengths, their own weaknesses, their own path. And when we constantly compare them to their siblings, we're sending the message that they're not good enough as they are. We're telling them that they need to be someone else to earn our love and approval. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. It creates competition, resentment, and jealousy between siblings. It erodes their self-esteem and makes them feel like they're constantly in a race they can never win. Because no matter how hard they try, they'll never be their brother or sister. They'll always be the one who's not good enough. Now this one is just plain cruel. You'll never amount to anything. Can you imagine the weight of those words on a child's shoulders? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, planting seeds of doubt and fear in their minds. When a parent says this, they're essentially crushing their child's spirit. They're telling them that they don't believe in them, that they don't see their potential, and that can have a devastating impact on their self-worth and their motivation. Think about it. If your own parents, the people who are supposed to love and support you unconditionally, don't believe in you, why should you believe in yourself? It's a recipe for low self-esteem, lack of ambition, and a general feeling of hopelessness. And it's simply not true. Every child has the potential to achieve great things, but they need the support and encouragement of their parents to do so. Instead of tearing them down, why not build them up? Why not focus on their strengths, their talents, their passions? Why not tell them, I believe in you. I know you can achieve anything you set your mind to. This, my friends, is the ultimate betrayal. To tell a child, I wish you were never born, is to inflict a wound so deep, so profound, that it can take a lifetime to heal. These words cut to the core of a child's being, shaking their very foundation and leaving them feeling utterly unloved and unwanted. The pain of these words is immeasurable. They send the message that the child is a burden, a mistake, a source of regret. They create a sense of worthlessness that can permeate every aspect of their lives. Children who hear these words often internalize them, believing that they are inherently bad or unworthy of love. This can lead to a host of emotional and behavioral problems, including depression, anxiety, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. It's crucial to understand that words have consequences, and when it comes to our children, our words have the power to shape their entire worldview. To utter such a hurtful statement is to inflict emotional abuse that can have lifelong repercussions. If you've ever said these words to your child, I urge you to seek professional help. You're such a disappointment. These words, often delivered with a sigh of exasperation or a shake of the head, can be absolutely soul-crushing for a child. They convey a sense of failure, a lack of acceptance, and a deep feeling of not being good enough. Children who are constantly told they're a disappointment often internalize this message, believing that they will never be able to please their parents or live up to their expectations. This can lead to a pattern of people-pleasing, perfectionism, and a constant need for validation from others. The long-term effects of this type of criticism can be devastating. Children may develop low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and a lack of motivation. They may struggle to form healthy relationships and may sabotage their own success out of fear of disappointing others. It's essential to remember that every child is unique and has their own strengths and weaknesses. This one really gets under my skin. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. This phrase, often shouted in anger or frustration, is nothing short of emotional blackmail. It sends a clear message to children. Your feelings are not valid, your tears are an inconvenience, and if you dare to express your emotions, there will be consequences. This type of response teaches children to suppress their emotions, to bottle up their feelings, instead of expressing them in a healthy way. It creates an environment of fear and intimidation, where children learn that vulnerability is a weakness, and that showing their true emotions will only lead to punishment. The long-term effects of this type of emotional suppression can be significant. Children who are repeatedly told to stop crying may develop difficulty regulating their emotions, leading to outbursts of anger, anxiety, or withdrawal. They may struggle to form close relationships, fearing that expressing their true selves will lead to rejection. Now this one is just plain wrong. You're the reason we're having problems. Blaming a child for adult problems is not only unfair, it's incredibly damaging. Children are not responsible for their parents' happiness, their marriage, or their financial situation. When parents make their children the scapegoat for their own issues, they're placing an enormous burden of guilt and responsibility on their young shoulders. Children may internalize this blame, believing that they are the cause of their parents' unhappiness, and that they must somehow fix the situation. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and a desperate need to please others. Children may become overly responsible, taking on adult roles and responsibilities in an attempt to alleviate their parents' burdens. It's crucial for parents to remember that their children are not their therapists, their confidants, or their emotional punching bags. You should be grateful for everything I do for you. This statement, often uttered in a tone of resentment or martyrdom, creates a transactional relationship between parent and child. It implies that love and care are conditional, earned through obedience and gratitude. While it's important to teach children gratitude, it shouldn't be used as a weapon to control their behavior or make them feel indebted. Parents have a responsibility to provide for their children's basic needs: food, shelter, clothing, and emotional support. These are not favors to be repaid with endless gratitude. When gratitude becomes a bargaining chip, it can create a sense of obligation and guilt in children. Labels can be incredibly damaging, especially when they're used to define a child's character. "You're so lazy." These words, often thrown around casually, can stick with a child for years, shaping their self-perception and influencing their behavior. When we label a child as lazy, we're essentially telling them that their lack of effort is an inherent trait, a part of who they are. This can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where children start to believe that they're incapable of hard work or achievement. Instead of encouraging them to try harder, this label can lead to a sense of hopelessness and apathy. They may think, "Why bother, I'm just lazy. I'll never be good enough." It's important to remember that children are not born lazy. This one is a doozy. No one will ever love you like I do. On the surface, it might sound like a declaration of unconditional love, but beneath the surface lies a darker message, a message of control and manipulation. This statement is often used to make children feel indebted to their parents, to keep them close and dependent. It plants seeds of doubt about future relationships, implying that no one else could possibly understand or love them as deeply as their parent does. This can create a sense of insecurity and fear in children, making it difficult for them to form healthy attachments later in life. They may become overly reliant on their parents for validation and approval, fearing that any attempt to establish independence will result in rejection or abandonment. It's essential to remember that healthy love is not possessive or controlling. So there you have it, folks. 10 things toxic parents often say, and the lasting impact those words can have. Remember, words have power. They can build up or tear down, inspire or destroy. As parents, as guardians, as adults in the lives of children, we have a responsibility to choose our words carefully. Let's strive to build our children up with love and positivity. Let's break the cycle of toxicity and replace it with a language of love, encouragement, and respect.